Welcome, Casie Ella. Today is going to be a fun day. I'm super excited to introduce you guys to one of my really good friends, also just an absolute star at what she does. Casie Ella has been modeling for 10 years. She's on her 10th international contract, currently in Bangkok right now, and just having some really awesome time being able to go all over the world, do really cool things, be able to build her modeling career into obviously contracts for herself, but also build a community out of it with her international modeling course. And so, Casey, I can't wait to have a conversation today with you, catch up a little bit, and then jump right into like how all of this came to be. Because we've been able to go some really cool places in person together, and I'm really cool, and I'm inspired every day when I get to see your posts and see your stories and see all of the individuals in your community winning, getting their contracts and all of those things. So I'm super excited to talk to you today.
Oh my gosh, Kay, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. And I just want to throw it back to you because I'm absolutely in love with what you're doing right now within the crypto space, helping all these young ladies, all these young entrepreneurs, all these young men. You are doing really amazing things. And I think it's so awesome that you have this platform that you're sharing all of your wisdom and just helping guide young entrepreneurs in the right direction. So I'm just so proud of you. Seeing you grow and develop and win has just been so amazing. And yeah, I'm honored to be here.
Amazing. Thank you for that. I think the first time we ever met in person originally was Orlando. Was that right? Or was it somewhere
I
else?
think so. I think it was Orlando because I've been to a
Right.
couple events in
Yeah.
Orlando.
But I think
And
one of the
then we
best
went
ones
to
was
Miami,
Panama.
Panama, and Miami.
And Miami, yes. I was like, we've,
And then you came to Canada.
and then I got to come to see beautiful Canada. Guys, this is the beautiful, beautiful part of social media that I love a lot is being able to meet people online, know them, and then obviously like get to travel and go meet up in places. My mom always is like, really, you can't just go meet strangers. Like they're not really strangers. Like we've been in communities, in conversations, and you kind of start to understand when somebody's building something, you get to hear like
Yeah,
their ethics and their morals and their values before you really ever just go to a random city and hang
of
out with
course.
but I
What
know
I
for
love
go
what I
ahead.
love about our friendship is that every time we're meeting in a different country, like every time we see each other, it's always in a different city, in a different place, in a different event, doing different things. So I just think it's really cool that through everything, the chaos of the world, we're always able to connect through, like-minded things in different parts of the world, which is so awesome.
That part's really fun. Yeah, I'm like we've actually never been in the same place when we meet. That's hilarious. I love that.
That is so funny.
Um,
So right now, where are you based and what are you working on?
right now, I'm in Dallas, Texas, and I am
Yeah.
working, doing a lot of content, videography, and helping a lot of people in the digital education space. Whether that's learning like crypto, forex. I'm not teaching. I partnered with a platform that teaches individuals how to do that. So they have world-renowned
An amazing
educators,
platform.
yeah,
Yeah.
world-renowned educators, and then we connect the dots. And I'm really good at connecting the dots for people. And so whether that's putting them in the right place and knowing what they need, because I've been through that journey of like trying to figure this out. And then for you, what you're in Bangkok right now. What are you doing in Bangkok?
So I'm here in Bangkok, Thailand on my 10th international modeling contract. It still feels crazy for me to say that. Like, I
Yeah.
know I've been modeling for 10 years, but it also just feels like I started yesterday,
Hmm.
which is so crazy. So I'll be here in Bangkok for a total of 90 days. Typically, the way it works, I go to these international countries on 90-day visas for a
Hmm.
time. So after Bangkok, I'm planning to go to China. I should be going to Guangzhou, China for 90 days. And from
Wow.
there, perhaps Korea or somewhere else. So it's definitely a really cool way to travel. Uh, I'm grateful because when I was in high school, at the end of your senior year, the student counselors like would pull in all of the graduates and ask them about their university plan, about their college plan.
Yeah.
And for me, I didn't know how I was going to do it, but all I knew was that I wanted to travel the world. I would think about just wanting to wake up in a new place and always meet new people, do new things, see new places, try new foods, all the things. And modeling was like never my goal. I'd never like dreamed of being a model. Like that wasn't my thing.
Relatable.
But when the opportunity came across my path, I knew that I could make a good career traveling the world. And so I'm just really grateful that the modeling industry gave me the roadmap to pursue my dream of traveling the world.
I freaking love that. It's like, here's the thing I want. What's really cool is what you said. He's like, I want to travel the world. You knew what you wanted, um,
Yeah.
and then it fills in the space of like, okay, how can we do that? And God's pretty funny because he's just like, what do you want? And then we finally are like, I want this. And then the path that has been laid before you, you just took it, and you're like, well, I guess that makes sense. Let's try this. Um, Walk us back to like first starting in the modeling industry. Like, how'd you get into it? And then kind of your journey up till now. 'Cause I know at some point there was maybe not going to be a modeling journey anymore.
Yeah, so funny enough, I actually used to be a jock. Like in elementary school, in high school, I played all the sports, every sport at the most competitive level. Like I was such a tomboy, such a jock. Basketball, volleyball, soccer, track and field. I was on the boys' flag football team. Like I did it
That's
all, and it was
amazing.
so fun. And long story short, when I was really young, 4 years old, I was actually in an acting agency. So my mom was always taking me into the big city, Vancouver, Canada, and I was doing like auditions for Play-Doh commercials and just stuff like that.
That's awesome.
My parents had my little brother, and we couldn't travel, so I just whatever gave up and went through life. When I was 15, I started going to another city in Canada for a high level volleyball team tryout. This was like a 3 month process, and I knew of a girl I played soccer with. She was signed with a model agency in that city.
Mhm.
And at some point, something just spoke to me that while you're traveling to this city every weekend for volleyball tryouts, you should meet with this modeling agency. So I told my mom, we ended up doing it. And funny enough, I ended up on the same day being the last girl cut from making this competitive volleyball team. And I
No,
received a contract from the modeling agency.
that's
Yeah.
wild. Like
Isn't
immediately,
that
like
crazy?
no volleyball. We're doing modeling.
Yeah. So then it was a massive transition because on weekends I had to decide between going to my practices or my tournaments or going to my model training. And I ended up picking modeling as I knew it was going to be the route that would allow me to travel the world. So I signed
Mhm.
with my agency when I was 15 years old, and I did intense development for about a year and a half. And it was on my 17th birthday that I caught a plane for my first international contract to Tokyo, Japan. And that was
Wow.
just a game changer.
What is uh you've now been able to go to so many different countries out of all of the countries. Like, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned while traveling? Um, whether that's people,
Yeah.
experiences.
My biggest lesson that I have learned is that I don't know how this is going to sound. That every single person is the exact same. At the
Mhm,
end of the day, we all want the exact same thing. We all want to be happy, and we all just want to enjoy life. Now that can look different for everyone, but
mhm,
I think it's so interesting when I go to all these different countries. I've been around the world. My first two trips were to Tokyo, Japan, Osaka, Japan, Mexico City, Korea, China, Vietnam, Milano. I did Korea again, now I'm in Bangkok. At the end of the day, everyone just wants to be happy and live a good life. Now that can look different for everyone, but I think it's so precious when I'm walking down the street and, I see a Vietnamese mom with her baby, or I'm walking down the street in Milano, Italy, and I see this, older gentleman walking with his crutch. And just at the end of the day, everyone is so different. We speak different languages, we spend different currencies, we're in different time zones, but at the end of the day, we're all the same.
That's so
Does that make sense?
yes, because yeah, I think it makes sense to somebody who's experienced that. I don't necessarily know if that would make sense to somebody who has not experienced those
Yeah.
experiences. Um, and so one of the things, if you guys watching this, like take the trip, whatever trip it is, whatever first trip you get an opportunity to do to experience the other side of the world or another country, take that experience, because that experience will transform the way your entire perception of the world is for the rest of your life. I Yeah, still to this day, the first I went to France first, and I was like, this is how the world lives. Like these people, wow. I was like, these people are really cool, and just a whole different experience of the world. And
Yeah.
then it was like a few years later, I finally got to go to Europe and more Canada, Panama. Like, there's such beauty, like you said, in the fact that we're all the same. And that, yeah, to really grasp that, I think you have to feel it. But knowing if you haven't felt it yet, you can go experience it.
Totally. You've done a lot of traveling too. How many countries have you been to?
Think we're at 11 if I'm not if I count um being stuck in Serbia airport for a day.
We counted. This is my
We
thing. I
count
always wonder if I've been to a country for a layover, can I add it to the list of countries I've been to? We can do it,
you can do
right?
it. I was like, I stepped out of the airport, so I did touch the actual soil, whatever, but
I breathe the air in that country. I think that's enough to say I went there.
yeah. Yeah, I
I
think
probably bought a coffee. I spent money in that country. I was there.
sounds good. I think 11
Okay,
at this point.
really cool. What was your favorite one? What was the one that was most impactful for you and why?
Ooh, I really liked Croatia. Zagreb, Croatia was a really cool place, which out of all of the places I've been, I'm like, that's a rando little place. But the food there was incredible. The people, I mean, coffee's like €1. So like I could get coffee literally all day. And
Heaven.
it's like $5 max. um, so that's sweet. They have these like just the way that they go about food there. I'm like, there aren't these big refrigerators and things. Like they just go get the food that they need to get from the market that's literally probably 5 blocks down the road, or at most it's on the same block that they live.
Yeah.
Like there's such a simplistic way of living, and it's like convenient. Everything's there. The one thing they don't have there is like meat. Like their definition
Mm.
of like barbecue is like pastrami or like ham or prosciutto. Like
Yeah. And
there's
coming from Texas, like that's a whole
like
other.
I was like,
Yeah.
where's the protein? Like
I gotta hit my macros.
so that was funny trying to figure out enough protein, but once you figure it out, then you're good. But I was like, I
Yeah.
really liked that culture. People there were incredibly nice. But the event there that I went to kind of just reshaped my entire like identity as I was there, and I was like, wow, like and at that point I'd been on a few trips, and I was like, we really do travel the world getting to do this stuff, and I was like, this is
Yeah.
crazy. So it was a really cool realization for me. Um, and I think, yeah, that was
I
the start.
really I really noticed after that trip, like you unlocked a new level. Like that was a very powerful moment for you, especially because you were really diving into the event, and that's why you went to that country. And it was so cool to see you officially be like, okay, yes, like this is what's happening for me. This is what's working. This is what I want to do. Like who's coming with me? And I feel like after that, everything just fell into place, and now you have this amazing community of people who are just absolutely killing it. And I'm so proud and just so excited to see you like fully step into this role. Because not only is it so awesome and cool, but you're helping so many people while you're doing it.
Thank you. That one
Yeah,
was really definitive on like I shoot public speakers and video and I do videos and I can travel the world with a freaking camera. Like this thing is powerful.
yeah,
And it's always been the thing that's got me access into things and to conversations and to people. And so I'm like, now I feel like I have a responsibility to use this in a, a way that like not only helps me obviously but helps so many different individuals, whether that's like learning how to use a camera or figuring out how to help brands share
yeah,
their mission and their vision. And I think that's where I really fell in love with like the fact that you can be a great business owner, you can have a great product, you can have a great service, but if nobody knows what it is, why you do it, how you do it, and you don't have any content about it, then nobody can find you. And I think some of the most honoring businesses I've ever been a part of were the ones where I'm like, I saw a random short and then I went through their funnel, the back, and basically their
yeah.
brilliance of putting that together to get to the thing that they actually do, which is their magic. And I think in this process, you've been able to do that so well. Like your your content is finding new modelers or finding new models. Um,
Yeah.
kind of, I know that that's like a huge piece of the puzzle is like figuring out Instagram top of funnel stuff, like when it comes to the business, like how did you go about realizing that you wanted to do like a community? Like you had the skill set of doing modeling contracts and then you're like, how do I bridge the gap between more people? Like walk us through that kind of process and that thought process.
Yeah, I mean, when I was first getting started with modeling and I went on my first trip back in what was this 2017, 2018, social media was like a big factor of life, but it was starting to, I feel like, really just pop off and people really understand that, okay, like I can do something with this.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was 17 and I was just taking pictures of my traveling and modeling. Like I was just showing my life, what I was doing. And as I continued to travel and go to all these different countries and continue to share that, I realized the amount of models that I was actually reaching across the world who would message me so many questions about the industry. And what was so funny to me was that they were the exact same questions that I had when I was first getting started in the industry. And over time, as I continued to do this, the amount of messages I got was actually overwhelming. And I realized there was such a lack of understanding and guidance, but also community for models to go to
Mm.
actually understand the industry, the do's, the don'ts, the tips, the tricks, all the things that, I did when I was first getting started, when social media wasn't super like popping off in my specific niche, where there wasn't a lot of people showing what they were doing in the way, that I was doing it. And so that's when I really realized, like, oh, like these girls need help. Like they have the questions, like if there's this many of them asking me in DMs, how many of them are looking at my stuff but not asking because they're just afraid or
Yeah.
they just don't know, right? So that's when I really understood that, like, okay, I need to kind of fill this role and help these girls. I didn't know what that looked like. I don't even know, what that even meant, but I
Yeah.
would just realized I was gonna have to figure it out as I was gonna go, so I could help as many girls as I possibly could, just gain an understanding and an education of the modeling industry.
That's so cool. And then
Yeah,
that's kind of like how we met because you wanted to figure out business systems, and we ended up in a
yeah,
mastermind together. And I think
yeah.
that's been really fun. Watching you build this thing from literally just an idea into reality is really cool.
You were there when I like kind of had my epiphany, my revelation of like, oh, like I'm gonna do this. Like it's been really interesting, that every kind of not epiphany I've had, but yeah, like you've been there for every milestone throughout all the growth and all the learning, just throughout all the different masterminds and events that we go to. People need to understand the power of events. Can we talk about the power of
let's
masterminds and community?
let's do it.
I mean, there is such value in getting into the right rooms and getting around the right people. I know you talk about this all the time, and we're going to talk about it again because people really need to understand the value of investing in yourself will always pay 10 times return.
Yeah, I think, I mean, my forever I've always been saying events change lives, and I think that was the one thing, like when I left the sporting world, that technically in that same thought process, like those are events. Like game day is an event, uh practice is an event. And so
Yeah.
I didn't realize that that's what it was until I really connected the dots going backwards, but I was like, you're on a common goal together, going towards, you're on a common mission together, going towards a goal, and you're trying to accomplish this thing. And how do we do it? We need teammates, we need information, we need clarity, we need systems, we need all these different things. And then I was
Yeah.
like, there was a period in my life where I didn't have any of that, and I was just like, I didn't, there was no reason for me to get up. I was just like, I don't have anything to do. Like,
Yeah.
what the heck do I do with my life? And then I was like, I don't want to get a real job. Ended up doing freelance for like a year. And then I was like, events. Like, we need to get back into like, it just made sense. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
people, it doesn't matter what the thing is that you're doing, whether it's modeling or digital education community. Like, you have a common goal. I have a common goal. There's a mastermind that teaches how to get to that thing, and I think that's the beautiful part in um, being around events and going to masterminds, because there's always somebody that has literally solved the thing that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
um, and believing that this is new and impossible when other people have it is like, it's not realistic. Like, if somebody has it and somebody's done it, you can figure out how to do it. And so
Totally.
being able to go see people that have massive success in whatever area it is. So if, as a listener, like if you have a simple, like a little dream, it might be this big, you can really only see it like this much. Your actual first thing is to believe bigger. So you need to be around people that believe that that thing that you actually do want is like actually obtainable. Because at this point, you probably don't even think it's obtainable. You're just like, that's a cool idea. And being around people at different events really goes, oh, I can build this. I can make this a thing. Um,
Yeah.
and then also to the side of like the first big investment you ever made into like an event or a mastermind or like those kind of things, because that feeling never goes away, but it is one of the things that once you get past it, it unlocks everything else.
Here's the thing about investing in an event, in this trip, to go to the place, to be around the people who will help you get the thing because they've done the thing. Every single time, correct me if I'm wrong, both you and I have done that. It is always paid off massively months
Yeah,
after. Every single time. Every
it's a
single time.
every single time there's a latency. So yes, like it might not pay off the day after you get back from the event, but that's that's real life. Like, you take the information that you learn at those things from the people, and now you guys, you have, not only do you have the information, you have the connection on who taught you that. And so now you have a resource as far as like being able to ask questions, get further clarification. There's so much opportunity with that one event. And for me, I'm like really big on figuring out how to like explain leverage to people, not like trading leverage, but like actual
Like
leverage. Like,
leverage.
in life, we need leverage. And if you don't have it, it's because you are being leveraged. Um, so being able to take the dollars that you do have, whether it's a small finite resource, use it for something that's going to get you something that's way more valuable, aka people, connections, information. That's the end all be all. Then you take that, knowing what you do know. gonna go build something with it. And then you make more money doing that. And you just keep repeating the process. But the first time you ever do it is like the most scary. Like my hands were sweating when I think the first thing I ever did was like maybe $1,000 or something like that. And I was like freaking out. It was the best thing I've ever done.
Totally in the moment, you're scared
Yeah.
shitless, and you're like, oh my gosh, my life is over, how am I going to eat tomorrow? Because when you are young and first starting out, like that's a bit dramatic, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean, like it almost we're so afraid early in our entrepreneur years of making that initial investment in yourself. And if I can leave anyone watching this with anything, it's to understand the power of investing in yourself and in your business and in your mindset. Because realistically, I'm a girl from a small town in Canada, from a very broken family, and like there's actually no reason just statistically of why I should be where I am doing what I'm doing, aside from the fact that I have invested in myself time and time and time again. Even when I didn't have the money, I went to my neighbors and I asked them for their bottles to go to the bottle depot to make the money to go to the event. Was I humiliated? Yes. And
But you
at the
get to
end of
go
the
the
day, I
event.
just knew, yeah, I knew it was what I needed to do. And I want people to really understand the power in investing in yourself, because going from that to this doesn't make sense aside from
Yeah.
the fact that I invested in myself time and time and time and time and time again. Yeah.
It's so important. Uh,
It's
it
important.
and then it just keeps getting you still get the same feelings again because somebody's like, okay, now there's another level to this, and then you have to
Yeah.
experience that again. But now you have the skill of that experience, and you have
Yeah.
the actual. Um, you close the loop. You know that if I do this thing, then I get this. I can build this. And now having that rewiring in your brain that spending or investing money, spending money
Yeah.
doesn't equal it's gone forever. It's actually I get something majorly valuable that nobody can take away from me. Nobody can take away your experiences, your travel, your understanding, your information. Um, it's such a powerful thing. And then you
I
become the asset.
Yeah, totally. I do want to ask you,
Mhm.
because I know that you are extremely well educated because you follow the right people. I do want to ask you about crypto right now, because you're the person that I always just think it's so interesting to see what you're doing, because you're diving into the education and actually implementing what you're learning. And it's so cool to see you really level up in that way and the value that you get from this education. For me personally, I'm
Mhm.
wondering if you can explain it in dummy terms, where we're at with crypto now in the world and where we're going.
Ooh, where we're at with crypto in the world. What's fun is it's everybody's new in this space. I think I was
Yeah,
talking to a friend of mine on a different podcast episode, and she said, "Guys, just because the industry's been around for less than 20 years, like
yeah,
there isn't this big, massive like, oh, they know so much more. Like there's a gap for sure, but there's not this massive gap in information and the abilities. And so I think you have a really cool time to get educated in the sense of like understanding what's changing in the world. Um, where we're going, I was actually listening to the Bitcoin conference information. There's like a Bitcoin conference in Las Vegas every year or for the last couple of years, and um, one of the guys, he's this super smart math nerd, and God, I'm not great with numbers, but I can figure out enough to manage. He's talking about how much money is going to be printed in the next couple years, by like 2028, and the amount of inflation and the amount of money that they're going to print. And he was talking about how they actually make this stuff, because what's the actual thing is the banks are in the business of credit creation. They're not
mm-hmm.
there to just store your money. They don't actually store your money. It's called fractional reserve banking. You can Google it. Um, they you put
Crazy.
money you put money in the bank, and they literally go and use it times 10 to go do other things with it. and then they give you back that small little interest at the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's because you gave them money to go do something with it. You didn't just park it somewhere.
Yeah.
When I learned that, I was so pissed off. I was like, what the heck is a bank for?
Totally.
Anyways, like these
Totally.
middlemen, like, what are we doing? Long story short, he was telling us like how much money, how the money's actually going to be created. And I was like, okay, that's a little bit high level for this conversation, but basically there's going to be a lot of money that comes into the world, twice as much as what happened during COVID. And so we can all experience,
Whoa.
all
Do people
understand,
understand the mind
like,
equals blown?
mind blown. We all understand what happened during 2020 with the prices, with everything. We also understand that crypto was at a certain level and it basically 10x'd from that place. Now, his hypothesis is that it will 10x again. And so a
Yeah.
$1 million Bitcoin isn't that far off from a mathematical perspective. And so the we're at the point in graphs where it's that exponential growth curve. We're like right on the cusp of it. And we have a small window of time to like really get educated and positioned because you're talking about an entire world wanting the same asset class. Just
Hmm.
one. Like, oh my goodness. We're talking about the whole world wanting one specific thing. And so the supply and demand is absolutely wild when it comes to if people actually understood what they have. Uh, at at if they actually understood what Bitcoin was and like what it could do for them. Um,
Yeah.
in my opinion, I think understanding the space is step one, and then being able to figure out how you use and you navigate in this world that does exist. And people still like to say it doesn't exist. And like, it's been around for quite some time, guys. This
Yeah.
isn't like the future. This is like the present. So I think that's
Yeah.
a lot of my like um, overall where it's going is like think about an industry 10xing in the next 3 years, like
Yeah.
10xing. Like, it blows my mind. Um, and it's not that you're late, it's just you have to get educated.
Yeah.
And education doesn't mean go blow money and like throw
No.
money into projects. That's the worst way to go about doing it. You invest into your self education first. And I know you've done that, and which is why it's really fun because you get to be able to navigate this world. And um, I'm sure there's some ways like paying for things in foreign countries. Like you actually do have somewhat of an understanding that, oh, if I can't figure it out in the traditional currency world, I'll just solve it in crypto world. Whether
Exactly.
and you know the right people to ask if you don't actually know the answer to that. Um,
Yeah.
and so I'm
You just
like,
bought a milkshake in crypto in Bitcoin
I
the other day. How
yeah,
cool!
I was like
How cool!
they bought they the CEO of the CEO of Steak and Shake. He's been in the crypto space himself personally for quite some time. And he's like, how do I actually get this into retail, commercial? How do I educate my employees? All of his employees now have to be educated on crypto because they got to figure out the kiosk. They're not
So
like
excited.
high level education, but it's the start of like, how does this little internet money thing
Yeah.
actually be used as currency, as for trade, as for assets. And what's interesting is the do you really spend it? Do you not spend it? Do you keep it? Do you that's the we call that the holder's dilemma. And so you guys can learn about that a little bit more of like how to actually go about um, buying, selling, trading, using your Bitcoin. Because some people are like, I just want to buy it and never sell it. And I'm like, people buy real estate. They don't sell it, but they use things against it. So
Yeah.
there are ways to go about doing that in the crypto space, which is really cool evolution of it.
Moral of the story is get educated now.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah. Very cool.
And it'll serve
Really.
you for the rest of your life and your kids'
Of
lives. And
course. Yeah. And your grandkids and your great, 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 great
yeah,
grandkids. That's the reality, though. Like, that's where we're going.
yeah. And it's it is pretty fascinating to me. I was just always like, technology, no, I was always taught don't bet against technology. And this is a new technology. We've gone from
Exactly.
coins to cards to technology. We're here.
We're
That's
here.
really
Welcome
scary.
to 2025.
We love it. Um, let's see. There's what's pretty cool in that space in particular is the amount of individuals that I've met that within crypto business, like their faith journey has been strengthened by going about these these different areas because there is some level of faith. And I know that what's really cool is watching your faith journey in this whole building a business, having to believe, having to understand different things. Um, is there anything like how would you say your faith has been strengthened through having to go through all of this?
Good question, because I never really considered myself. My family wasn't religious growing up at all,
Hmm.
at all. And as I've gone through life, pursuing these endeavors, kind of creating my own path, you have to have, like you said, some sort of belief behind yourself about what you're going to do when you're jumping into the unknown. And the reality is, I wasn't able to have that amount of belief for myself. And so it had to essentially come from a higher power. We can
Yeah.
call that God, we can call that the universe, we can call it my highest self. When I first dove into my spirituality, I called them my spirit fairies.
Yeah.
That's just what I called them. They were cute. I prayed to my spirit fairies, send me away, to travel the world, and they did, and it worked. Um, so I completely agree that as you pursue the journey of entrepreneurship and just really diving into creating a life that you desire to live, over the course of time, whether you're intentional about it or not, your faith does strengthen, whatever that means to you.
Hmm.
And it's been a miraculous journey for me, even within just the last few years. When I travel to these international countries, the reality is I'm very isolated. Now, I'm around a lot of people each and every day, but they don't speak my language.
Yeah.
They're in a whole other world, they're in a whole other culture. Even when I go, to work, when I'm on set, the makeup artist, the hair artist, they don't speak English half the time. The photographer has to use Google Translate to tell me how he wants to pose. And so, when I'm living at my model apartments provided by my agency,
Hmm.
99.9% of the time, I'm living with girls who aren't from Canada or America. English is not their first language, if they even speak it at all. And so there has been such an aspect of isolation to my international travels, which at times can be challenging. And
Hmm.
it's really through that isolation that I've been able to connect with myself, but also with who I consider my higher power, which is God, which is Jesus. And so it's
Yeah.
been such a beautiful journey to have to go inwards and just really pursue that relationship with myself, but also with God, because I didn't have the external distractions
Hmm.
keeping me from that. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
And I think that's the case with so many entrepreneurs and people pursuing online business and all these different endeavors. Because at the end of the day, entrepreneurship, it can be lonely and it can be isolating at times. And when you don't have that self belief, you have to rely on a higher power, a higher source to borrow until you grow it yourself.
That's so good. You said that
Yeah.
so well.
Thank you. Yeah. So I never expected myself, to
Mhm.
fall into this, but it has been truly an amazing journey of discovering my faith and strengthening my relationship with Jesus. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that I'm able to travel these countries and know that the creator of the universe has my back. And what an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
Come at me, I dare you to try. Like, God is on my side. Like, no matter what comes my way, I'm just like, okay,
It's
take it,
like
God. Like, it's yours. I'm surrendering. I don't want it. Like, yeah. So I just think that's really awesome.
That is really
Really awesome.
cool. And I think I saw a picture of the most recent church you went to. That was really cool. I was like, you get to find these churches and find these communities in different countries and experience how they practice. And I was like, that's so beautiful.
Totally. I get so excited when I go to a new country and I have to find a church. Um, Here in Thailand, the country's main religion is Buddhism, but also Muslim. And so there's a lot of Buddhist temples, a lot of, Sikh temples, and that's beautiful. I've attended, Sikh
Yeah,
services, we could say. I've gone to Buddhist temples, and like it is a beautiful aspect of the country and the culture that I do visit. But when I am able to find, a Christian church to attend in the countries, I'm always so excited and just fascinated about how at the end of the day, no matter what country I'm in, whether it be Canada, Korea, Thailand, Milano, Mexico, I can find a church, and at the end of the day, we all are connected through our rooted belief. And I just think that's so amazing that no matter what's going on, no matter what plane I'm hopping onto going where, I'm always able to, if I look hard enough, if
yeah,
I search, if I'm actually wanting to go, because it's not like I'm just like, oh, like I got here, like I do have to find, like
yeah.
there's not very many churches in Bangkok. I have to go out of my way. But once I get there, it's such a gem to experience um, that side of Christianity in all these different cultures.
So cool. I
Yeah.
think that stuff's so fun. I'm like, wow. Like you said at the beginning of the this podcast, like humans are all basically the same, and they're just all trying to
We're all the
figure it out
same.
in their own way. And it's like you can have these labels of like Christianity or whatever that some people have a little bit of a problem with or whatever. However, it rubs you the wrong way. But at the core of it, it's like we all know that
Yeah.
we have a higher source and we're looking for something to actually fulfill us. And I think that's so cool. You get to experience it in different ways because it looks different compared to somebody who's maybe experienced like Christianity one way for their entire life and they think
Yeah.
of it as that one thing. It's like being able to see it in little bits and pieces here in different ways. I think it's a really cool perspective. So it's like that's really fun.
I think humans are so cute. I think life is so cute. I just think I'm
They
just
are.
like they are so cute. But yeah, I mean life is wild, and I never really considered myself, like I said, a religious person. And I
Mhm.
would have never imagined that I'd be the girl going out of her way when she's traveling the world to find a church. Like, I never was this person. I dove heavy into the new age manifestation. I
Mhm.
had my crystals. I burned my sage, all of the things. And I was putting all of my faith into that. And the reality is, um, it didn't get me what I desired. And when
Yeah.
I really took a step back and instead of trying to force everything to be my way, and at the time I was surrendering to my spirit fairies,
Yeah.
I really was able to come back into myself and realize that at the end of the day, God, my higher self, the universe, they had a better plan for me than me trying to do all this manifestation through all these new age practices. Um, and so it's just really a beautiful thing to look back on my journey and realize that it was when I surrendered that I got everything I wanted.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And now do you when you're in new locations, new places, like do you hear God speak to you like go here, go there, don't do this, don't do that? Like do you hear him?
I do. And that sounds so crazy. And it's more so a voice that's within me, but I know it didn't come from me.
Yeah.
It's a thought that I have that I know I didn't think, but I heard. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah.
But having that source and having that like internal navigation system as I am going through all these international countries, because as beautiful and amazing as this life is, the reality is like I still obviously clearly need to be aware of my surroundings, still interact with the right people, and at the end of the day, like, have a good head on my shoulders. Like,
Yeah.
modeling's amazing, traveling the world is awesome, but at the end of the day, you need to have so much common sense,
Hmm.
clearly, obviously, and that's something that I'm really preaching to my students. Is that understand, like, yes, we're so excited about this industry, we're so excited to travel the world. You get to a new country for the first time, it's you're away from home for the first time, and all these things, we're so excited to just jump into the world.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I learned really quickly within my first couple of contracts when I was 17, 18 years old. I'm currently 24 now, so this was
Hmm.
however many years ago. Not everyone has your best interest at heart. And no matter how excited or no matter how good your intentions are, that doesn't mean everyone else has the same as you.
Yeah.
And so I had to go through a lot of trials and errors of getting caught up, in the wrong places with the wrong people. And I did have to learn the hard way within life, but also within the modeling industry, and really take those lessons.
Hmm.
And that's why I'm super passionate now about making sure that younger models are well educated before diving into this industry. Um, because not everyone does have your best interest, but when you
Hmm.
approach life with the right guidance and having that source guiding you, you can live a beautiful life and you can have these amazing experiences that I do believe everyone should experience in their lifetime, but you do have to go about it and approach it the right way.
Very, very smart. I was like, this is why having a community is so powerful. Um,
Totally.
the ability to ask the questions, the ability to have some of the students in your community be like, is this the right contract? Is this the right thing? Like, what am I actually signing? Like, those kind of things. I'm sure through experience and through trial and error, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, do it this way. Don't do it that way. Um,
Don't.
what
Please, I beg you,
what
don't do it that way.
what's some of the common like very pitfalls, I guess, in the industry of modeling that maybe aren't so like talked about, or kind of like there's one side that the world sees and then there's the other side, and then like
Yeah.
what's some of the common pitfalls?
Um, First of all, it would be signing with a good agency that actually has your best interest at heart. One, they're not like a fake or a scam. Or two, they actually believe in you and believe you can be successful. They're not just using you for a money grab. They actually see potential in you and want to work with you. Also, from the outside, I understand how the modeling industry can look so glamorous. The hair, the makeup, the shoes, the camera, all the things. And that's, don't get me wrong, part of the fun. I feel like I go
Yeah.
to work and I play dress up every day, and I'm so grateful that,
Yeah.
I get to make an income through that way of life. But I do really want aspiring and beginner models to understand the grind that it takes. Now, the reality is, especially when you go to these foreign countries, a model is there to make the client's product look good. Now, I just really want models to understand that the setting is not as glamorous as the photos turn out. First of all, let's be honest, a model never looks as good as she does in the final photo. I
Yeah.
promise you, in the big billboard campaigns blown up, that model, her pimples, they're not showing on that billboard, but she had them that day. She probably worked a 14-hour day to shoot that campaign. If it's a typical day, the client probably didn't give her lunch. She
Mm.
probably was in bleeding, blistering heels. She probably had to take that exact same photo that's blown up on the billboard, I kid you not, 432 times.
Yeah.
And then at the end of all those professional lights, hair, makeup, stylist, photographer, everything, they took the one perfect shot from that day and blew it up. And then
Yeah.
models look at it and be like, wow, like, that's what I want, the final perfect shot. But you can't have that final perfect shot without everything that comes
Before
behind
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, including the whole workday in itself, but also the development, the
Hmm.
sacrifice, and the work ethic that has to go into competing in such an oversaturated industry. The reality is, everyone wants to be a model nowadays. And that's amazing. I'm so happy that everyone's following their dreams. But I think there's a big difference between a girl who wants to be a model and look pretty in the final shot and a girl who actually does what models do each and every day: eating right, working out, getting. I love the model industry because I feel like it's a way that I'm able to get paid for becoming my best self.
Yeah.
Yes, physically, okay, cool, but also spiritually, emotionally, mentally, you have to be on your game up here in order to travel internationally around the world, be away from your family for months, if not years at a time, live in foreign countries where no one speaks your English and you can never find the dinner that you want because everything is, they just eat different foods here, and just going through that process of the trials and the tribulations of the challenges it actually takes when traveling the world, living in foreign countries for months at a time. There's a big difference between traveling to a country for a week or two on vacation and going to all the trendy touristy spots and actually living in the country,
Yep.
doing the things that need to be done every day in that country to consider yourself an international model.
Wow. That was
Yeah.
like, there's so much behind the scenes stuff that happens, and I like it is true. It's like there's this one perfect shot, and then there's the whole story behind it. And it's like
Mhm.
that that stuff matters. And it is really cool. You do have to be sharp. You do have I've learned more about skincare and like taking care of myself from you than like I was like, you're like, no, we gotta protect the skin. We can't. I was like, we were out on the boat right in Canada. You're like, the
Yeah.
skincare has to be on point. Like, can't get a tan because that messes up your work. And it's like the intentionality that you have to go about taking this as a profession is inspiring. I'm like, dang, what do I not do for my profession that I should be doing? I'm like, probably getting enough. Like that, there's certain things that I'm like, how intentional you take your profession is really inspiring. Um,
I appreciate
that's
that. Thank you.
yeah,
But it also took me 10 years to develop that discipline and develop that. Like, it came with a lot. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't like this from the beginning. It definitely was a process to learn what I need to do and what I don't need to do. But yeah, at the end of the day, as glamorous as it looks, it is a job and it does require daily disciplines, just like anything, just like an online business, just like crypto, just like all the things. And I think the sooner that models realize this is a job, you do need to work. You don't just get to show up in the final shots already ready to go on the billboard. I think a lot of girls will achieve success a lot faster when they can overcome those hurdles and don't get caught up in the disappointment, but instead just learn from them.
I love that. What's a few of your like favorite shots? Because I can put those in the top and just point at them. Like, what's some of your favorite? I know you've been on like the Billboard. There was one. Was it
Yes.
like London or UK or something?
Yeah, that one was it was for a brand London based shot in Korea.
Okay.
So that one's really fun. That was really cool. Probably my favorite was when I shot for Le Officiel magazine. That
Mhm.
was in Mexico City. But those shots were really fun, and that team was beautiful and amazing to work with. Um, One time, this was on my first contract when I was 17, and it was my last job of that contract before I went home. And I booked this job for a skincare company in Japan, a very well known skincare company. So I was super excited because I've been using their sunscreen for months before that.
Yeah.
And I had to wake up at 3:30 a.m. and I got picked up by a car, and we drove 6 hours down out of Tokyo to the coast of Japan. And we shot on the beach on this massive cliff overlooking the ocean from Japan.
Wow.
And we got this super cool shot of me just like looking so angelic, like posing with like the ocean behind me. And that one, I remember thinking like, oh, like this is what I want to do. Like, I'm going to pursue this with my whole heart now because this is just so amazing. What other job do I get to wake up and drive to the coast of Japan and like stand on the cliff overlooking the ocean? And that one is really cool too.
That one was cool. We'll put these pictures up on the top.
Cool. So
um,
fun.
that's so fun. It is cool. It's like I think what's fun is like I know what it's like to do the shots and stuff. So it's like picturing that perfect moment, and then you're the one that's like, okay, I guess we're just going here, and this is what that person is intending to see. And I'm like, I don't shoot modeling photos, but same. It's like you have this perfect shot, you know, the perfect person to do this
Totally.
thing, and it's like nailing that perfect shot is like some of the best feeling in the world. It's like,
So accomplishing, you know
yeah,
what I mean? I think it's cool that we both have a different perspective
hmm,
in front of the and behind the camera.
yeah. It's like
Totally.
both sides of it, which is cool. Um, let's see. I think we have time for like one or two more conversations, but um, when it comes to like what are you learning currently? Like what are you currently trying to build into more of your business? Like where are you going with that? Like where do you see that going?
Good question. Um, what I'm currently learning and really wanting to focus on in this season is understanding how I can help each of my students get to the max of their potential. You
Hmm.
know, in the beginning, when I started my model mentorship and I launched my online course, The Ultimate Model Guide, it was just to make sure models were educated and they knew what they were getting themselves into.
Hmm.
But now that I got these girls to a certain place in their career, now I'm like, okay, how can we get them
Yep.
to that next level? Like they're educated, you know, they've got the contracts now, they're doing the thing. Now that I've got them from A to B, how do I get them from B to C? And
Mm-hmm.
just really understanding how I can give them the most value and really level them up in their career by
Hmm.
taking everything that I've done and making sure that they're doing the things they need to do to get to where they want to go.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited because I'm essentially teaching models what I wish I knew when I first got started. You know,
Hmm.
I had all these questions, but at that time, there wasn't really anyone creating the content or showing models what to do, you know, on a platform like that. And
Yeah.
so being able to have this community of girls that, you know, we can learn from each other, but they come to me and they ask me questions and, you know, I got this job offer, should I take it? The photographer's kind of weird, or I got this contract and like I'm not really sure like what it means for me next in my life. Like all these things, being able to guide these girls through their journey
Hmm.
is such a special thing for me because it's what I wish I had when I was first getting started, right?
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, I had an amazing agent. I had an amazing agency. It's actually still the first agency I ever
Hmm.
signed with is who I'm still signed with. She's
That's
been my
cool.
mother agency for 10 years. Absolutely love her. And I'm so grateful that I was blessed to find an amazing agency who truly had my back and
Mhm.
believed in me from the get go, the very first agency I signed with.
Yeah.
But that's not always the case for
Hmm.
models. And even if it is, having that community that you can go to and have things be explained and be worked through from like a bird's eye view, not just from an agency view, but like what does this mean for you all around in life
Yeah.
is so crucial. And so I just love the work that, you know, I'm doing with my girls and I love where they're going and I love them. And it's just such a beautiful thing to see the journeys of these younger girls. And some of them are even older than me, you know, really
Hmm.
go after their dreams, knowing that they have the right guidance and the right education to achieve them. And now it's just putting all those puzzle pieces into place. Um, so yeah, that's what I'm really excited about next.
Sounds so fun. Like I can just tell you're
Okay.
excited about it.
I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited because I've
Okay.
seen all the horror stories and I've heard from girls. You know, I'm living in model apartments with
Hmm.
typically, so how it works is essentially I have a mother agency in Canada. It is their job to develop me, get me international contract ready. So they build me a
Okay.
portfolio of photos, they teach me how to pose, how to runway walk, model etiquette, all of the things, yada yada yada. It is then their job to take all my material and promote me to international agencies
Hmm.
and vet these international agencies, because
Yeah.
just because someone says they're an international agent doesn't mean you want to work with them. We want to do our research and really know what we're getting ourselves into before we fly across the world to
Yep.
work with this agency, right?
Hmm.
And so once I get to these international countries, majority of the time, especially when I'm working in Asia, the international agency will pay for my flight. They'll put me up in a model apartment, typically with a lot of other girls from different countries doing the same thing as me. And
Mhm.
then each and every day, 7 days a week, I'm expected to be ready to go to castings, which are
Okay.
essentially auditions for modeling, same idea. So different countries will have a different system. Maybe the agency will have a driver who loads all the models up into the model van and we drive around the city to go to these castings. Or, for example, here in Thailand, it's actually the model's job to get themselves to all of the castings. So it
Okay.
is so fun.
To
I'm
like
going on the
navigate.
taxi bikes. Yeah. You can't take a taxi car because the traffic is so crazy.
Yeah.
You'll be late everywhere every time you go. So I'm on these taxi bikes and like they're whipping, zooming in and out through
Oh
traffic. I
my
feel like I'm in
god.
a video game. And when I show up to these auditions, typically the way it looks is that there will be a client or the designer waiting in a studio room with a photographer,
Mhm.
or just their iPhone, ready to take photos of me wearing their clothes. I'll try on a couple outfits, just do basic poses,
Yeah.
so that they can see what I look like in their product. And it will
Mhm.
typically be me, and it could be one or two or 20 or 100 other girls in that lineup waiting to do the exact same thing. At the end of that, the designer goes home and decides, okay, who makes my product look best? Who do I want in my next campaign or on my website,
I
etc.
see.
Yeah. Then when you book the job, the money you make goes back to your agency for all the expenses they put out for you, model apartment, pocket money, flight, etc. And
Yeah.
then you keep your percentage as the remainder.
Okay. Does the agency then pay you? So it goes from
Yeah.
the jobs within the agency now. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's it. There's so
Yeah.
many
So
different
there's so
ways.
many avenues. Before you go international, it has to go through you to your mother agent to the international agency. Once you're international, it has to go from you through the agency to the client, back to the agency,
Wow.
back to you. So it's
Wow.
a lot of,
A lot of
parts
touch
that all
points.
fall into place. Yeah. Yeah.
So
The model apartments are crazy because I completely understand the idea behind the agency's process. They rent out an apartment and they essentially put a bunch of bunk beds in all of the rooms. And it's literally me right now. I'm living with two girls from Kazakhstan, Ukraine, Russia. There was a girl from China, all different parts of the world. I've lived
yeah.
with different models from Poland and Mexico and Brazil, everywhere. And it's really funny living in model apartments. Literally feels like college dorm. Like sometimes they put too many bunk beds in one room, like three sets of bunk beds in one room. Like you
You're
don't
like,
even
oh
have
my
enough
god.
outlets so everyone can charge their phone at night. Like everyone's waiting to get into the bathroom. They need to shower before their castings, but there's so
Right.
many girls. So a lot of the time it's really chaotic in the model apartment. Everyone trying to cook dinner on one tiny stove at one time, bumping elbows together. You don't speak the same language. Someone ate your last yogurt cup. You're like, who ate my yogurt, you guys? Like, I have to go to a casting. Now I have no yogurt. But it's all fun because living in these foreign countries with these girls, you really develop such a beautiful connection, even when they eat your yogurt.
Yeah.
Um,
That was personal.
because that one was perfect. I haven't let it go. And how many years has it been? But it's okay. And yeah, being able to explore these international places with these girls who are from other countries is just so cool. You get to go to the 7-Eleven on the corner and go to the supermarket where you can't read any of the ingredients and like take these taxis and your taxi driver is speaking to you in Chinese and you're like, I don't speak Chinese, and he keeps talking to you in Chinese. Like it's all just an experience, and it's so much better to experience it with other girls who are going through the same thing as you.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds like
Yeah.
fun. Like to me that sounds like fun. I'm sure some people that sounds crazy, but
Yeah,
hmm,
it's crazy fun. It's chaotic and messy and amazing. Um, it's not glamorous, but it is, and it's a wild ride.
I love it. I'm so
Yeah.
happy you like what you do and you get to help so many people.
Thank you.
It's really fun finding humans that absolutely are doing the thing that they know they should be doing, and then therefore they put all their discretionary effort into making it as much fun and as enjoyable as it can be. And I think it definitely shows in the work that you do and the way that you show up on social media, the way that you show up for your community. I think you freaking find, like, this is the thing that people want to do in their life, whatever it is like find the thing that they love doing and then spend as much time doing it as they possibly can. And so I
Totally.
think that's so fun that you found that at such a young age, but also like you have such a like long career ahead of you that you can do this
Yeah.
for so long.
Thank you. It's the same thing with you, though. Like, you found what you love, you found your passion, and you found a way to make it be your income, but be the thing that fulfills your life. And I think that's what's so cool, again, about communities and getting around the right people, is at the end of the day, everyone's the same. They all have goals at the end of the day that they just want to live a happy, fulfilling life. And when you get around the right people who are doing that same thing, whether it's in your industry or not, there's so much beautiful power and connection that comes from getting around the people who are doing the thing you want to do. Even when it's different things, at the end of the day, it's still the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you're still, and then it feels like you have teammates. Like, I feel like I have a team. I'm like, I have teammates
We're
all over
rooting
the
for
world.
each other. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Rooting, supporting all of the things. And then I get to learn about so many different industries. I had no clue about any of the ins and outs of the modeling industry until I met you. And I was like, this is
Oh.
so fun.
And you teach me so much about crypto and online income. I love how we're able to just learn from each other. And I just think it's so awesome that having people in this community.
I think one of my last question I have for you is like, my channel's called like Defi Your Limits. So like out of
Yeah.
your whole life, like what was the limit that you had on your life? And then what was the thing that finally like you defied the odds? Like you were able to overcome that limit. Was it a self belief? Was it a location? Like those kind of things. Um,
I think it was a self belief that I could be in a different location.
okay.
I
Yeah.
didn't think that I could do the thing that I wanted to do and make it be a real thing that would
Mhm.
take me to all these different locations. I didn't think I had the skills. I didn't think I was good enough to do it. I didn't think I had the opportunity. I didn't think I had the resources or the knowledge. Like, these were all the beliefs that I was harboring at that time when I was so young. Like, when I was, in high school, I dreamed about traveling the world. Deep down,
Yeah.
I knew I was going to do it, but then all the technical aspects came to play. Well, how are you going to do it? Well, who's going to pay for it? Well, what's going to happen when you get there? I knew that I didn't just want to go on a vacation. I knew I wanted to live abroad. I
Right.
knew I wanted to work in another country. I considered becoming an English translator. Like, I considered like all these different avenues, and at the end of the day, like, nothing really was falling into place. And that's really when the self-doubt came in. Like, well, maybe you should just get a real job. Maybe you
Mhm.
should just give up on your dream. It's probably not possible. It's highly unlikely. The student counselor wished me good luck with that.
Oh
Like,
my
you need to go to college. And at the end of the day, though, the thing that got me out of that self-belief was knowing that deep down I was never going to be content with myself until I gave it a shot,
God.
until I
Mm.
gave it everything I had. I would have lived in regret if I just gave up and, did what everyone thought I was supposed to do and go to college for something that I didn't even really care about, because that's what my life was starting to come to. Like, I thought, like,
Yeah.
okay, well, whatever, I'll just do what everyone's telling me I should do. um, but I deep down knew the amount of self regret I was going to have if I did that was going to consume me for the rest of my life. Not to be dramatic, that's absolutely
But to be
accurate.
dramatic.
Yeah.
I feel
And
like that's a lot
so,
of
one, I'm just really grateful that I was delusional enough to give it a shot. And that was the
people.
first step to it all.
Wow. That's so powerful. Delusional enough to give it a shot.
That's the first step.
I love it. Casie Ella, it was so nice to have this conversation with you. I think it's every time we get to meet in person, whether it's person, online, like you just bring this energy that I'm like, yes, like I learned so much from you. I get to it's really cool to watch you build what you've built, and to get a front row seat into how you go about doing this life and at such a young age. And I know you have so much more ahead of you and so much more to come and to build and to grow and to figure out along the way. And I think it's really cool to watch you build your dream and to be able to share it with so many people. Where can people find you, and like your Instagram as well as your modeling course mentorship?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Casiella, Casieella. And if people are interested in taking their modeling career to that next level, maybe my modeling course is a fit for them, they can DM me the word ready and we can
Mhm.
go through that process and see if it's the next step for them. But I just want to thank you. This was so fun. I'm just so honored. And it was such a pleasure to connect with you once again. It wasn't in person, but it was just as powerful. And I know the next time that we meet, it's going to be somewhere probably so cool. It's probably, I don't even know. It's going to be like Egypt or like somewhere crazy.
Something cool.
And you always bring an amazing energy. And I'm so proud to see you crushing into what you do and helping so many people. And I am really excited to see where you go with everything you're working on in the crypto space, in your communities, helping all these people. It's so crazy to see what you've done because it's been so impactful. And I just think you're on the right track with the right people. And I cannot wait to see what's in store for you next.
Thank you so much. Also, what place are you at? Show you can show people like you're at this really cool location, right?
First of all, look at the roof.
Also, guys, it's like 7 p.m. We're like 12-hour difference right now.
We're actually 12 hours different. I don't know if I can turn the camera around, so I'm turning the camera around.
It's so
Skyline, totally crazy, beautiful rooftop
that's
bar. So cool.
very cool. I'm sure you find some
Yeah.
really cool places.
Every country I go to, I immediately like land at the airport and I'm like, rooftop bar, like where do I go? I just want to be on the skyline, see the city, like eat a sushi roll and just like experience the energy of the skyline. Every place I go, rooftops are my thing.
Rooftops and things. That's good. So when you come to Dallas, there's a place I gotta take you. So,
Fun. Okay, I want to go.
all right. Thank you so much for hopping on today, and we can't wait to see you guys on the next one.
See you guys. Bye.